right, it is exactly 6 minutes gone past the hour of 9 on the AM side, and you have found the Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. This is your political and current affairs prog show. We call it the Eagles Outlook, where we use the Eagle's eye to look into matters arising in the country as it regards politics, economics, developmental strides, and everything that concerns to humanity. And the peoples of Nigeria. Now, my name is Udwak Daniel, and yes, today being a significant day, though, some would say the handover day, the handover inauguration day, and stuff like that. Well, we are looking into the economy. The same economy where Mr. President has so very, very proudly come out to saying that regardless, we have been able to make giant strides, and economically, we are indeed having some reserves that has gone high compared to 2023. We are making progress. And so we look at the fresh 24 billion US dollars borrowing, what it might cost for Nigeria. And quite a number of persons saying it may balloon Nigeria's debt to 183 trillion naira. Well, we'll be having our guest who's going to be joining us via phone call. It's going to be a very smart conversation. Is in the person of Mr. Adefolari Olamide. He is a political economist, communication expert, and consultant, lead researcher and policy analyst. So he's going to be joining us via phone call this morning as we go conversational. But let's set a background, to the discourse this morning. Fresh 24 billion US dollars borrowing may balloon Nigeria's debt to 183 trillion naira. Okay, so Nigeria's debt profile has been a pressing concern. Many countries, the country's total public debt rising to 87.38 trillion naira, and at the end of the second quarter of 2023, that is, representing a 75.29% increase from 49.85 trillion naira in March of 2023. Now, the debt burden has been described as unsustainable, yet the country continues to borrow. Since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over office on May 29 of 2023, Nigeria has secured significant loans from the World Bank, including 750 million US dollars to boost the power sector, approved on June 9, 2023, 500 million US dollars for women's empowerment, approved on June 22, 2023, 700 million US dollars to enhance adolescent girls learning and empowerment, approved on September 21 of 2023, 1.95 billion US dollars in total loans from the World Bank in the first 4 months of Tinubu's administration, and quite a number. Don't forget there was an additional borrowing including 7.8 billion US dollars and 100 million euros loans requested from the Senate. Now, it is worth noting that debt profile has been increasing over the years, and that's a matter of fact. With the Obasanjo administration from 1999 to 2007 experiencing significant debt relief. Okay, debt cancelled. Everybody felt happy. We smiled. We hailed the Obasanjo administration at the time. Well, the Tinubu administration's borrowing spree has raised concerns about debt sustainability, especially after we saw subsequent, administrations, including the Buhari administration, resuming the borrowing spree. Right now, what is Nigeria blessed with? We are blessed with numerous human and natural resources. Natural resources can include oil and gas. Nigeria is one of the world's largest oil producers, if you didn't know that. Solid minerals. Nigeria has significant deposits of solid mineral like coal, iron ore, and gold. Agricultural resources. Nigeria has fertile land and a favorable climate for agriculture. In terms of human resources now, we have a large workforce and it's a growing workforce as well. We've got skilled professionals, so much so that they cannot even stay in Nigeria because of certain policies, and as a result of the fact that they are underpaid, underregarded, undervalued, so they go elsewhere where they'll be valued. And so we begin to talk about the jackpot syndrome, the brain drain, and here and there. And they become professionals, the same professionals they were here. No, they're not belittled outside the shores of Nigeria. And they become great professionals such that the outside, the international community will endorse them here and there. Just recently, though, weren't we just celebrating two Nigerians who were part of the British Council there, the government? Oh, yeah, we were celebrating. Mr. President even gave his word out to them saying, oh, my illustrious sons. We're so proud to associate with success. We are so feeling happy to associate it with success. Yet, we have failures all around us. So, despite these resources, though, Nigeria's economy is still remaining challenged. And the borrowing have raised questions about their impact on the country's development. Some of the, key questions should include, what have these borrowings helped us achieve? Have the loans been used to finance productive projects or merely to service recurrent expenditures? That's one. Another would be, why is Nigeria still borrowing? Have you ever thought about it? Like, why do we keep borrowing? Is it necessary for Nigeria to resume borrowing when a country is enormously blessed with human and natural resources? Where has the monies from the subsidy removal gone? You've asked all of these questions, so I'm compiling your questions, because these are the questions we'll be looking into as we engage with our guest, Sir Adefolari Olamilekun. Good morning to you. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, I'm hearing you. Good morning.
Wonderful. Good morning to you. Sir Adefolari, welcome to the Prog Show. Time is not on our side, so we are going to use the limited time that we have to address these issues and concerns. I mean, fresh $24 billion borrowing may balloon Nigeria's debt to 183 trillion naira, and three questions that Nigerians are asking, especially knowing the fact that not just us knowing, the world knows that we are blessed with human and natural resources. I mean, oil and gas, solid minerals, agricultural resources. For the human resources now, we have a large workforce. We have skilled professionals, so much so that they even have to leave the shores of Nigeria via the jackpot syndrome, right outside the shores of Nigeria, and do great exploits. Three questions beckons, all right? What have these borrowings helped us achieve? That's number one. Number two would be, why is Nigeria still borrowing? And number three would be, where has the monies from subsidy removal gone? You may want to attempt these questions while you also give us your overview as to the recent borrowing, by the administration, the Tinubu administration.
I think very interesting dissection and very laudable conversation we want to have this morning. First and foremost, we talk about why the first question is, why are we borrowing, or we have made savings from what they call subsidy removal, and we are still borrowing. The thing is this very critical. Part and parcel of the conversation around this 21.4 billion to be borrowed by federal government of Nigeria. And let me quickly clarify, it is not federal government of Nigeria that is borrowing all that money, including about 11 states.
Right.
So 11 states are also part of the people that are going to borrow that money. Although those states cannot come out and tell you that they want borrowing, they have to go through the federal government and borrow that money, because the federal government that will stand for them as surety in that regard. So that's how we need to quickly clarify that 21.4 billion that will be borrowed is not just for federal government, including about 11 states. Part of those states include Abia, Lagos, Oyo, Bauchi, Borno, Adamawa. About 11 of them are involved in this borrowing spree. And another clarification we need to make is that it is part and parcel of the 3 years borrowing plan of the fiscal strategy policy of the federal government framework that talk about government borrow money for the next 3 years. So it has been there
in the budget.
The document has been. Hello?
Was it in the budget?
Yes, it has been there in the budget,
right.
Particularly not budget of the federal government alone, but including budget of the state government. Okay. So it has been there. But where we are having issues with this kind of public issues, that we don't get enough of information regarding some of these particular issues. When the president wrote letter to the Senate and it was read on the floor of the Senate. At the time the media would bring us this information, they only gave us the one that we will quickly react to. But the other part of the information that they're supposed to bring down for us and trying to bring out this money, they didn't help us to bring that out. But that has been said. But the core message, the core issue where Nigerians are angry is that why are we borrowing?
Wow.
We have saved money from poet to why are we still borrowing?
Exactly.
And the key answer to that is this. The current development challenge in Nigeria at this point in time will always demand that government will borrow, because there is no direct development initiative to raise government revenue beyond our oil receipts and some non-oil sector that is giving government money. Hope we are getting what I'm saying. Federal government have been raising money. Federal government, let's concentrate on federal government before the state government. There are only two channels that federal government have been raising money so far. Since 1960 today that I know Nigeria and have been a Nigerian, it has always been from the oil revenue and some non-oil sector revenue that has to do with taxation. Get it? So we don't have any productive sector that we say federal government is doing any as much as it can earn in terms of profit from business that the government is supposed to be conducting. So because of that, and because of that challenge that we have, that is only two sources that federal government is raising money for themselves, it has become a constraint that they are not even raising enough from that sources. So the only way to supplement the shortfall in the revenue that they need to take care of the development project is to go and borrow. And Nigerians are not happy when they hear government is borrowing. Because when they hear government is borrowing, the only thing they will see at the end of the day is that the money is borrowed and being spent, carelessly or being stolen. And the reason why Nigerians will believe that those money are stolen is because the people who are the head of affairs of this country, they all live in a luxury. From governor, from president to minister to commissioner to governor to House of Assembly member to national, they all live in luxury, in high class lifestyle, expensive vehicles. So when Nigerians now hear that government is borrowing, they don't even see where those money are put. They only see the areas where those money are spent on the life of those politicians. So that's why they get angry at this point. So in a way, I've answered two questions that you raised earlier. We are borrowing because we only have two sources of revenue, and that is not enough. And when we are not, and why Nigerians are angry about the borrowing, because we are not seeing most of those borrowing in areas that it is expected. Rather, we are seeing on the life of people who are considered as our president, our ministers, our commissioners, our governors. So Nigerians are angry because of that, and that is on that aspect.
All right, good one right there. Let's now open the phone lines. I mean, I said it was going to be a smart conversation so the Nigerians can add your voice. Family members can indeed, talk about these things too and ask the relevant questions. You already heard it, right? Even some states are part of these borrowing, but of course they would not come all out to stand on their own. They need the government, the federal government, to stand as a surety, right, for them so that they can secure some of these loans. But Mr. Adefolari, these are not grants. They are not grants. They are loans, right?
They are not grants. They will be paid back.
Paid back.
All
right.
Back.
Now,
yes.
Let's just open the phone line. 0907-353-0044 is that number to call. The other number, 0908-766-8888. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you, Moses. All right, where are you calling from?
Yeah, from Suleja.
Awesome. Moses, straight to the question. Let's
Yeah, I think we were the one that were so concerned about the borrowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the issue is that they pass borrowing. What have they done on the ground? That is one of the challenges that we have seen. What have they done on the ground? We have most of our industries not working. Look at Ajakuta. If they can borrow money to put Ajakuta industry, all our refineries at work, I believe that this can generate funds. You made one powerful, valid statement that this country is blessed with mineral resources. With the mineral resources we have, I believe that if we manage it well, it will raise some funds that will avail and to help ordinary Nigerians and the entire Nigeria. For the politicians per se, everybody is looking for how he can embezzle this money. The question is, do you think that borrowing money from external under a corrupt nation like us, I'm sorry to use that statement, because some of us we are corrupt. Do you think that such money can come Look at what your guest just said. All the states depend on this external borrowing. Look at it. And some of these states have what is called taxation on some of these income that comes. What are they doing with it? What are they doing with it? There is no any accountability. Those money that has been borrowed from external, what have they done with it? They have never given Nigerians accountability on how they have done with this money. You get the point? And not only so, sir, the issue of many Nigerians that are not working. How many industries have you put in place as a government to create a conducive environment for these unemployed to work? If you borrow money from outside to put the economic working, you talk about manpower. When you talk about manpower, if the mechanism is not available for man to work, how are you talking about manpower? Nigerians, we have a lot of graduates on the field. You talk about jackparing. And people are going out from this country. The country that they're going for, what kind of measure have they placed to put their country and economic in order that Nigerians will live here and go, a nation that is blessed with mineral resources? You look at our politicians, they have a lot of houses built, no human being living on it. Look at the issue of a for the 750 estate. Look at it. Look, we talk about corruption. Borrowing money from outside, bringing it to this country in a corrupt nation. How do you think that will can succeed? So that's why the issue of borrowing is a great concern. Okay. Look at the oil subsidy. They never come out to tell us that this is what we have received after the oil subsidy has been removed.
Right.
So, UD, finally, I close it like this. Nigerian is blessed with mineral resources, blessed with whatever you think of. And Nigerians are not lazy. They are ready to work. They are ready to put the economy in order. But the problem is corruption and accountability and bad governance.
Okay.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right. Thank you, Moses, for that one. Now, Moses has given his thoughts right there. You also want to put your thoughts out. The number is 0908-766-8888. The other number is 0907-353-0044. Better still get on to the WhatsApp portal 0909-705-4450. And don't also forget that we have a television that we are hosting on Facebook and on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Eagles FM Abuja and do the same with the Facebook page wall. Now let's go hear from some stakeholders who have indeed, given a climb back or, at the government, as it's so to speak. And Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, says they should explain to Nigerians how the loans collected so far have been used, what impact these funds have had, because things have not improved. All right, we have Debo Olugunagba, PDP National Public Secretary. This is what happens when those in government are self-serving rather than people-oriented. These are the consequences of having irresponsible leadership in power. Right, we have the National Coordinator, Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, Emmanuel Onwubiko, saying there is no valid reason why the president wants to drag the country into these debts. And quite a number of people. Group Head of Research and Policy Advisory Budgets, Valyala Kwaga, says adding this new debt to our current total debt will push Nigeria to its self-imposed debt to GDP limit of 40%. Johnson Chukwu, Group Chief Executive Officer at a certain establishment, has said the most important thing is what the money is being used for, and that's what Nigerians will be focused on. Now, to you, Saadet Falari, as the government's been very transparent, because if you put together everything that Moses has said and every other inhibition that family members hold with regards to this borrowing spree, you will see that it's about lack of transparency. There is no transparency, there is no accountability. If not, how do you reconcile the fact that the Economic and Crimes Commission, EFCC, has made significant strides in recovering funds from the Nigerian government and for the Nigerian government? And of course, some of those funds recovered, 2024 recoveries, 248 billion naira recovered by EFCC. and the 29.685 billion naira recovered by ICPC, totaling 277 billion naira. These are monies, huge monies, large monies. In dollars, we have seen 105 million US dollars recovered by the EFCC, 966,900 US dollars recovered by the ICPC, properties, 753 duplexes recovered by EFCC. Additional recoveries, we've got 364.6 billion naira. We've seen 214.5 million US dollars. We've seen 54.318 or 54,318.64 pounds. We have seen 31,265 euros and other currencies recovered by the EFCC only in 2024. Let's even take it to the cryptocurrencies. 13.37 BTC, I beg your pardon, which is of course equivalent to 572,992.86 US dollars. 5.9 we've seen 5.986,094 Ethereum, of course, worth $13,353.06. I mean, Mr. Adifulay, I can go on and on. I mean, it's just so much. Properties that have been recovered: 173 vehicles, 378 electronics, one factory, one hotel, two gold chains, 14 parcels of land, petroleum products, and 70 tons of unidentified solid minerals. Regarding transparency, the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, stated that the mechanisms have been put in place to ensure transparent utilization and management of the repatriated assets. I mean, including participation of civil society organizations, CSOs, independent auditors, specific projects, and all of that. How far so far? And yet, we are still borrowing. Doesn't it even alarm you, Sir Adefulare, that wait, okay, what exactly are these monies put into? And don't forget, on the other side, on the sidelines, we've seen where Mr. President, in his subsidy is gone announcement, had made it clear, very clear, explicitly clear, that these monies from subsidies will reduce our borrowing and it will allow for us to engage in infrastructural developments and other, face other human development and quite a number of developments. But where are we now? So where do you think there is a disjoint between the federal government's communication or information communication to the people, or is it the people not understanding what really is going on with the federal government affairs in terms of the economy?
I think it's very interesting and quite, a very intellectual dissection from what we have been able to rail out this morning concerning EFCC recovery, ICPC recovery, and what the president is talking about. Subsidy removal is gone, we're able to save money. I'm going down to the issue of communication. We people in government, particularly people who help government to put out their communication, are always in a hurry, following the same old template that we have been using since 1999 to pass information to Nigerians. And those old templates of passing information doesn't break those information down to the concise, precise manner that ordinary Nigerians can understand what the government is saying about whatever the policy, whatever action they want to take. On the issue of borrowing, it would have been more better that some of these technicality within the writing up of those communications be broken down for people to understand. We are borrowing this money, but it has been in our plan for the past 3 years, and it's part of the borrowing plan part of development plan of Nigeria. It would have been better they put it in a way that people can understand. But when Nigerians are anger is that, just like one of your callers, the last caller talk about, want to see where this money is being put, or what Mr. Johnson Chukwu said, that what will make people to be happy about borrowing is that you put the money where they can see the physical end product or what you are borrowing money for. But in Nigerian case, both the communication is in disorder, and because of lack of information literacy in Nigeria, everybody just take any government information, and again, because of lack of trust, many Nigerians don't trust the government. Look at what you have realized. That's some money that has been stolen. Although part of that money is not completely money that was stolen in government. Some of them are from Yahoo boys and other stop. But bottom part of it is that many times government borrow money or put money into projects, it is stolen. 90% of it or 60% of it is taken away by people who are in charge of that particular distribution or allocation of that money. And that's when Nigerians are angry. Your caller talk about industry. Put money into industry, let them function. We have been crying all this year that one of the killer of industrialization in Nigeria is the power sector. And government privatized the power sector for nothing to get out of it, because the people who bought or who claim to have invested in the power sector, they don't have the money. They are politicians who just took over that thing, and then the government end up spending over 3 trillion naira as buyback, as support, to the point that CBN has to establish a company called Nigerian Electricity Intervention, a company that was intervening in the electricity sector, putting money there, and also be able to raise some money for the government. You see, we have created a lot of problems within the channels of our communication. At the end of the day, we end up also muzzling up some of those policies by allowing corrupt individuals to be in charge. And for me, that's been the bane of Nigerian development. And that's been the bane of our borrowing spree. Now, there's nothing wrong about borrowing. Everybody borrows. Even you and I, we borrow money from friends, from colleagues, from associates. We do one or two things. But when we borrow such money, we put into uses that can be more useful to us than putting into uses that will become useless to us. In the case of Nigeria, like the president said, you want to borrow money for human capital. So we ask, which part of human capital is he borrowing the money to? Is it in the university? Or is it in the chain of ICT that have been carrying out by Ministry of Digital Economy and the rest of them? But the key issue is that if we really want to ensure that this borrowing works for Nigeria, we should not allow corrupt individuals to be in charge.
All right. Well, he also added that he was borrowing these monies for health care, right? Health care, infrastructural development, and, education. And it made Nigerians laugh, because when we start hearing things like this, one thing, when I said states are involved in that borrowing, I can tell you specifically that the aspect that federal government will be putting its own money is spelled out. If that 21.4 billion comes, it's spelled out in key sectors of the Nigerian economy. Like the rail project they are carrying out, you know that part of that money will be there. Yeah.
But if you see when they are mentioning healthcare, when they are mentioning some areas that that majorly it is the state, like healthcare issue now, federal government engagement in the healthcare has been very laudable, but states are more engaged in those areas. And when states want to go and borrow money from external source, they use all those human social capital aspects to lure and collect that money. I've had the opportunity to study Nigerian Fiscal Responsibility Act of Nigeria. And one of the conditions for a state to go and borrow money from external sources, those money must be put in education, it must be put in health, and it must be put in road. And when you see federal government talking about they are putting the money in road, in this, that it's not just federal government that is saying it. It is because state government want to borrow that money, and that's why they are talking about that. Because if they don't put that in act, if they don't put that in the paper, they want to go and borrow the money, they have violated the Fiscal Responsibility Act. They have violated it, and that's why most of them they will pull those out so that people can be okay. They want to use it for human capital. They want to use it for health. Meanwhile, when they collect the money, it goes to something else.
Well, just recently, though, we've also seen, is it 2 days ago now, we've seen where the World Bank is pressuring Nigeria for a fresh tax hike, and that's based on the $750 million loan, right? But we'll get back with that conversation in a short bit. Let's just go pay some bills, and when we do come back, it will be you that I'll be connecting with, so you give your thoughts, to the discourse, seeing that time is not, our friend on this very hour, right? Okay, well, let's head out for a short break. We'll be right back.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Meet the Infinix Note 50 series, defined by pioneers who push boundaries. Its ultra-resilient armor alloy metal frame design gives you that slick, top-notch style. Unlock efficiency with intelligence of the one-tap Infinix AI and circle to search anything on your phone with Google. Need power in a flash? 90 watts fast charge rockets you from 0 to 100% in 38 minutes. Exclusive deals at Ori stores. Get your Note 50 now. The Infinix Note 50 series. Pro design, Pro AI.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Things they happen for our community, eh?
Now I can recoup back all the money I have spent on this annoying family.
Hey, yeah. That woman own don't finish.
My dear, let's go and greet them, okay?
Hey! Join media collation and awareness to hold trafficking, MICAT, on I Wish I Knew radio drama and program every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Join us to kick human trafficking out of our society. I Wish I Knew radio drama and program is brought to you by MICAT and funded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
37 minutes gone past the hour of 9 on the AM side. You got questions to look into the economy right now. This will be the right time for you to put these questions out. And we still have our guest, who is in a person of Mr. Defolari Olamilekon, who is a prolific, economist who has done quite well in terms of being a force to reckon with when it comes to advising and educating family members as well as Nigerians home and abroad as to what is going on in terms of economy of Nigeria, right? And Mr. Defolari, I'm glad you're still there. Welcome aboard again. Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes. Just recently we saw the World Bank, has asked the federal government to issue a presidential order raising excise duties on sin goods such as alcohol, tobacco, sugary drinks as a key requirement under the $750 million loan granted to Nigeria to reform the non-oil revenue mobilization efforts. Would you want to explain this just a little bit for us so we understand? And then secondly, of course, what is it about economy of a country, of a nation that Nigeria cannot stand? Is it possible for Nigeria to just dissociate itself from some of these world international bodies and say, you know what, I think we need to just do this our way? Have we not seen countries of the world, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me, have we not seen China do this before? Saying that, you know what, I'm shutting down to the international community. If we die, we die. We produce what we eat. Just recently, the Mr. President has put about Nigeria First policy. Do you even see that policy seeing the light of day in its execution? But just before you give your answers, though, let's take this one here. Hello, good morning. Hello? Yes, good morning, please. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, this is Felix.
Oh, Felix.
From Lambata.
Lambata. Awesome. Felix.
Greetings to our guests.
Yeah.
And to our highly esteemed callers and listeners.
Appreciate.
I have some worries this morning.
Yeah.
As you are really have to recover the loans and debts and all that.
Mm-hmm.
These are the ones recorded. You can attest. I can tell you for free that there are ones that they could not even record. We are a country that doesn't keep records.
Mm-hmm.
And as you are reading them out, I was getting worried in me. And my worry and concern is this. Our leaders patrons or they are scammers? Are they patrons or swindlers? Are they patrons or blood-sucking demons? If you will continue to collect loan under very stringent conditions, and you don't properly use that loan, and you don't invest that loan, knowing fully well that it's going to affect not only the contemporary Nigerians, the indigenous of this country, that even the future generation didn't mortgage at that extent, and you call with such loan, such money, and you have had to squander such money, live the kind of life you are living, make the kind of expense you are making, and I don't know what you tell Nigerians when you are coming back again in 2027 to canvass for their votes. And that gives me the worry and the concern I'm having right at UD. That are these human beings, are they really, do they have the interest of Nigeria at heart that are at the head of affairs? Thank you and God bless you.
All right, appreciate that one from you. Very strong sense of duty right there, if you ask me. Well, Defolari, you've heard the question. I don't know. What do you think?
I think very interesting. They are the leaders are Nigerians. They are not. I won't categorically say they are blood-sucking demons, but just like the action and inaction has made Nigerians to not to trust them. Just like last caller is trying to describe them with some names that we know that actually they are humans, but they are not sucking anybody's blood. But their action could make Nigerians to lose their blood. Take for instance, when roads are not constructed or roads are not becoming death traps, or there is no potable water for people to drink, and they are not falling sick as a result of issue of cholera and the rest of them. So you could say, okay, they indirectly because of the action, they are now becoming blood-sucking individuals because they don't do things that will really help Nigerians to come out of the challenge of health and the rest of it. But based on what you have asked on the World Bank issue, it's going to be a very tough time, very tough issue for us Nigerians to detach away from World Bank. Okay. Why am I saying this? The media that both of us have some little understanding, little association, little engagement in, will be the first to castigate the government for pulling out of World Bank or pulling out of IMF. The media that you see will be the first. They are followed by the so-called intellectual individuals who know either politicians or former government. They will be the second to castigate the government for coming out of World Bank or because there are a lot of individuals who are benefiting from some of the activities of some of the international bodies that you see. And again, is Nigeria ready for a war with the like of the United States of America or countries, Western powers that are backing IMF and World Bank? They are not. Or are we ready to ensure that our economy is turned into pieces by their action? Because before you know, different sanctions, different this will begin to come from these people at the end of the day. And many Nigerians will want of it. And again, our young ones on social media will also be the next in line to castigate the government for pulling out of World Bank and IMF because they know it. They want to leave America and Nigeria. And the dictation, the activities of the lives of IMF and World Bank are things of American standards. You get it, economic standards, social life standards. So it's something that I don't think we are ready for. Even the lives of Burkina Faso and the rest of them that are saying they are no more part of whatever. They can't do with all those international organizations. Their money, their currency is determined by IMF and World Bank. Even though they are not going to borrow money from them or they are not, it's very, because if you take us back to looking at colonialism and how African countries' economy was internationalized into the global economy. Because we are attached to global economy. And the IMF and World Bank are the custodian agency of global world power controlling global monetary policy, global fiscal policy, taxes, currency, foreign exchange. They are the one controlling it. Let me even give you an instance. We have some money in IMF today. That money, they call it, you know that money that they say we paid, the $3 billion that we paid.
Yes,
remember?
Yes.
That money was our money. It was taken out of what we call the special drawing right. Special drawing rights are money that countries pay every year to keep that money in IMF so that when you devalue your currency, that money you kept can be used to guarantee your credit across the world. So when we are already in that kind of thing, do you think we want to lose out of such? So it's going to be very difficult. And as I pointed out, from the media to the intellectual individuals to a politician, they will be the one to castigate the government. And I don't think any politician who are in the power today will want to pull out of World Bank or IMF. Then the conditionality around this new loan that World Bank wants to offer, 750 million, is not that we have to put some taxes on some food items and some items, tobacco, sugar. Do you know that there are NGOs in Nigeria that are promoting that government should even have more higher taxes on sugar or sweet items? NGOs collecting big millions of dollars from the national bodies who are against tobacco, who are preaching war against tobacco. They are here in Nigeria, and we know some of the people who own those NGOs, who work for those NGOs, who are claiming to be holier than thou. They are all working around the state, but they will not talk about this particular World Bank loan because they know that at the end of the day, it is still coming back to them.
All right, Mr. Adevalare, just one line, as you put a cap to it, about these borrowings. Should Nigerians be scared, or are we still on point?
I didn't get the question, sir.
About this borrowing, this fresh borrowing now, should we be scared? Should we be concerned? Or are we still on a fair play ground or fair play field?
I said something earlier when we discussed this. I said there are 2 areas that the federal government have been raising revenue. Those 2 areas have not been well operationalized to give the government enough revenue.
Okay.
The oil receipt, currently crude oil has dropped to $58 per barrel, meaning that there will be shortage in revenue coming from the oil. The non-oil sector that's supposed to be giving the government also money, either import or export.
Yeah.
There have been a challenge within that front, although the non-oil sector is giving us some money, but not as much as needed for development. And again, the loan that we want to borrow, it is not just federal government that want to borrow that money, including state governors. So a question was pushed out by one of the callers who said, what have they been doing with their internally generated revenue? That is state government. What have they been doing with it? So if you ask me, borrowing is not a challenge, but what have you put the money that you have borrowed to? That's where we have issues.
Okay, so
And
Abbas,
again,
Abbas is quickly saying he has a question. The money that was being used to pay subsidy back then, when it was, where was it gotten from? With the removal of subsidies, why do we still have pressure on the dollar naira after floating the naira? All right, that's what Abbas is asking. Is that the monies we've been using to pay subsidy back in the day before subsidy was declared gone? Where did we get it from? You know, and all of that. But Mr. Adifla, I wish we can go on with this right now, though, but we can't. James is typing a message and all, but we can't go further. Another program will be coming up in a short bit. But thank you for your thoughts with us and your time. And will I say happy handover day now to you? I don't know. Anyways, though, have a good one out there.
All right, thanks so much. Well, one day we can discuss this Naira issue, why Naira is value, with the advocacy and enlightenment we need to give to Nigerians. You know, so many factors were happening at that time, but we have removed one of the factors, but several other factors still need to be worked on.
Okay.
That's just it.
Appreciate.
Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate.
Thanks.
Yeah. This is what we call it a close. Time's fast spent. But yeah, I've got to go. Thank you, Far Too Kind. Get back again and see a replay or rewatch on the program on Facebook and on YouTube. Right? My name is Udwak Daniel.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Hello Nigeria. Hello Africa. Do you want to work in the healthcare sector? Do you want to be a trained certified nursing assistant, medical assistant, or caregiver? If yes, then register to enroll for Push Africa's 1-year diploma in